Welcome back to another episode of the Lofty Lenders Homebuyer Education, where we explore tips, tricks, and stories that can help you plan for your next home purchase. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer, a move-up buyer, an investor, or just looking to learn, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Buying the home is just one piece of your puzzle. But what about after you move in, or even maybe right before you move in? But that's where home maintenance comes into play. So let's talk a little bit about that, and let's see if we can save you some time, stress, and maybe even money in the long run, Charlie.
I don't know what you're talking about. We do not have a honey-do list. My wife has no projects for me. Nope. We never have anything break, not once.
You and me both. Yep. No, she's never told me to do anything, really. Yeah, that's great.
Do you think they're going to watch this one? We're in trouble.
Well,
yeah. And is maintenance waiting until it breaks, Kyle?
No, that's why it's maintenance, not fixing. Maintenance is before it breaks. Fixing is after it's
And
done.
is insurance here to cover maintenance?
I think insurance is here for fixing, right?
That's a big. They're for big whoopses, not maintenance. Which is honestly, it's a big misconception that everybody's afraid to save because stuff is expensive. But insurance is there to cover disaster or close to a disaster. It's not here to cover regular maintenance. And unfortunately, some things just are expensive. Roofs need to be replaced, regular maintenance, unless you have a storm. But there's just a lot of stuff. And duct tape. Or Gorilla Tape. We have Gorilla Tape at home.
Red green show, right? Duct tape. You can duct tape everything.
Emma's got so many different colors, you can make it pretty. And sometimes duct tape comes in handy, but that is not a fix. That's a Band-Aid.
So when you're buying a house, before, if we're talking about maintenance, we're thinking about things that we can do before we get into the fixes. So what would be the first time that you're going to come across anything related to home maintenance?
Immediately when you walk into the house, if the realtor is helping you, they're going to look at the ugly first and then focus on the pretty and really suggest a home inspection. And that's going to go a long ways. Emotion. You got to get the emotion out in somebody to come in, and that's where the home inspector can show you the uh-oh list. Hopefully there's not much on there. And then the honey-do list. And honey-dos are as simple as cleaning the gutters. A lot of people don't do that, and that can cause problems.
Yep, and those home inspections can be so detailed, and they're awesome. They're just great to look through. And when I walk through a house, I think, oh, man, that's so nice. That's nice. Oh, this layout is great. The paint, I can change that. To me, that's the big thing that I need to worry about is paint. But from a home inspector's perspective, they have a checklist of every single little thing they're going through across the entire house. And so I saw an inspection report the other day. It was 40 pages. And it's because they do a little picture, they do a little write-up, they explain what the jargon means. It's incredible the amount of information you can learn about this house from a 3 to 4 hour report.
And that's just it. What are you going to learn? I mean, most people, even if you're handy, plumbing, electric, framing, just anything, you're not used to it. It's not what you do every day. And so even if you're a plumber, you're not the electrician. You're not the handyman that can fix the other stuff. So having that report is not designed to scare you. It's designed to educate you. And then you decide, what are you going to YouTube and learn how to do? And what are you going to call the fix-it person for? And it's honestly fun. People get nervous about maintenance, but that's the fun part of being a homeowner. You don't always just fix it. Sometimes you upgrade. And you get what you wanted in the first place, and you make it different than it was. But you're doing it in a timely manner, so, a little water drip isn't an issue when you stop it right away. But if you let it drip all the way through the cabinet, now your cabinet's no good.
Yeah, I think of our last episode where I said, YouTube videos aren't necessarily all that helpful when you are trying to get a pre-approval letter, but YouTube videos are hugely helpful when doing all of your home maintenance. I can't even describe the number of YouTube videos I've watched. And now with ChatGPT, I can take a picture of what's going on with my house. I can message it up to ChatGPT and say, I have no idea how to fix this. What do I do? And it comes back with a 5-step process on exactly how to fix it. And I can ask it more questions. And YouTube videos don't do that. I can't say, well, wait a minute, mine doesn't look exactly like that. What do I do?
The image recognition to match more closely. Because washer and dryer, the parts are so different, but very similar. And so finding that exact piece, it's amazing. It is. And if nothing else, at least can calm you down so you know what to expect when the person comes. Because I'll be honest, that's what I fear. I fear the guy coming and it's going to be $1,000 versus the $150. And so you put it off because you don't know. Well, now at least you got a little knowledge. And so when they come, it's not as big a deal.
And you mentioned insurance. So one thing I think a lot of people think of is, hey, I'm going to get a home warranty and I don't have to worry about the maintenance, at least for that first year. And I think that kind of goes back to the warranty is there as the insurance and not as the maintenance. The warranty is there if it breaks. You might have for example, I personally had my washer break, and I called up a handyman and I had him come out and take a look at it. And he said, you're going to have this replaced. I called my warranty company and they said, well, you're supposed to call us first, so we'll have to send a different handyman out and we have to have him verify it. So you got to pay another $75 to have them come out. So had I known it from the start, it would have been a much smoother process. But I went ahead, paid that, and then they came out and said, yeah, your wash machine's toast, and we'll pay for the value of what this exact washer would cost new. Well, that washer was no longer in stock, so they came up with a rough value, which was nothing compared to what I was expecting because, appliances have gone up in price. So
Sure.
we had to spend a little extra on top of that to get something that we actually cared for. But
you
that
had
warranty
some
was
cushion.
there. It's that insurance, right? It saved me $1,600.
Yeah. And so honestly, everything is insurance. We self-insure what we don't pay for insurance. And when you self-insure, that's your maintenance budget, your savings account, whatever you've got for fun. Sometimes it's a credit card you got to use. Hopefully you can pay that off quickly. But we're big proponents of making sure you have access to funds. Ideally savings, that way you're not paying higher rates. But no matter what it is, if the water heater goes out, whether you have the money to fix it or not, you kind of need to fix that. I mean, cold showers you can do, they're not fun. But knowing what those are ahead of time, and again, if you don't have the home inspection from when you bought the house, it's okay. You can do a home inspection when you own the house. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can get a relationship, like you said, where you got a handyman. If you get one that's not super salesy, then they can come out and say, hey, your toilet's running. If we, fix that valve, you're going to pay less in water. And so it really offsets. Some of that, you can have another professional be that resource for you. And it's fun to get those contacts. You know who to trust, and you don't have to just look up online or look up in, whatever string where you're asking friends who they've used. That's a great way to start, but once you get your own people, it feels good.
Yeah, and one maintenance item that I always love, because I found it out in my first house, and I found out why you're supposed to do it so frequently, but it is to take your water heater and release the valve on the bottom of it and clean out all of the excess buildup. Sediment that's been building up in the bottom of your tank. But if you haven't done it and your tank is more than 5 or 6 years old, I probably wouldn't recommend going out and doing that right away, because you, like me, may end up ruining it. They had to come out and had to hire a handyman, because after I cleaned it out, I turned off the water, I opened it up, I turned it, I closed the faucet, the valve at the bottom, turned the water back on, and then I had a slow leak. I just did the maintenance, Charlie. I cleaned it. So why do I now have a leak? Well, as it turns out, if you let that sediment set in the bottom of your water tank for too long, it actually breaks down the material that's inside of your tank that protects it from having those leaks. So it actually creates a barrier so you're not going to have those leaks. But I'm sure my tank usage at the time was probably less than 70%, because there was so much sediment that was built up in the bottom of that thing. So anyways, I ended up having to, I replaced the valve. That didn't stop it. So we had to end up replacing the entire water tank, just because I was trying to do something like home maintenance. So get a new water tank. Make sure you do the maintenance on it immediately.
Look at how much you learned. And then we forget too. And honestly, a dumb thing. You just made me think we flushed our water heater. I need to just get a Sharpie out and write on the water heater, flushed, April 25. I'm not going to remember. I was proud of myself for doing it.
Apple tells me every time I need to do it, because, you can set that calendar reminder. And if you get a new phone, it's still going to show up on your Apple calendar. So I get those reminders every single 12 months saying, hey, go do this, or even just your furnace filter.
Yeah, but that's
that one,
awesome.
the same thing.
If you like digital stuff, that's fantastic. You want it written down, fine. Just keep a log and put it where you got it. Put it by your furnace, right on the furnace filter. But half of this is we get overwhelmed with, we don't know what to do. And so as you learn, you do that spring list, the summer list, the fall list. You just got to be consistent with it. And you don't have to be perfect, but keep it top of mind and know where to have that reference saved so you don't have the issues. I mean, I'd love that you learned how to do the water heater, but that stinks, but that's part of learning.
Yeah. And I also want to point out too that there are some what I'd call daily duties that you need to be doing for maintenance, and it's not necessarily maintenance; it's more so just to improve the overall well-being of your home. As much as I don't like to clean, cleaning is really a big deal. From if nothing else, just to make sure that you don't have ants that are going to take over your house. My kids like to. Yeah, exactly. My kids like to drop all their food on the floor. I think more goes on the floor than in their mouths. But it ends up, if I don't clean that up for a couple of days, we end up finding ants all over the house. And it's because they're just leaving crumbs everywhere. And that's a lot of food for a tiny little ant.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, even if it's not kids, you got pets. A little bit of food gets pushed under the refrigerator or around the corner, and you just never know. And pests are a pain, but they're going to find a way in at times, even if you keep a clean house. Oh, lots of little stuff. That's a great point.
Allergens with dust and things like that. If you're not dusting continually, I've got bad sinus issues. And if my wife doesn't dust and then she turns on that fan, whew, I'm in trouble. She likes to dust. I say my wife because she likes to do that. I don't like to do it. But yeah, all these little things, it's important. I always wondered why my mom was cleaning all the time. Yeah. It was important.
And it's not that you have to know, but once you see something or you get a gut feeling, it's like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't look, I don't know what's wrong with that. Doesn't look the same. That's where, honestly, call us. We're happy to give you feedback. I mean, anybody who's been a homeowner for a long time, you get to be handier or know what you need to do. Whether or not you can do it, you know what needs done. And then you get those connections. We help a lot of people get connections or just walk through how to diagnose. Go look on YouTube. Have friends over. But knowing what to do and who to call, don't be afraid. We will answer any questions, whether it's home related or not, just to get you comfortable and get you that connection. Connections are so helpful.
And I think relating it to current market, current trends, obviously we're seeing the tariffs that are increasing the prices on everything. You're going to start finding shortages in your box stores, which really just emphasizes why home maintenance is so important, right? I think it's even more important now. Because now you need to make sure you're going to be taking care of those things before they break. Because if they break, they're going to cost even more. And it may be even more difficult to get the washer or dryer set you like. You might be left with one or two options left, and that's all they have. I will say I'm a little nervous for that stuff, but you know what? We're going to get through it. And I got to go do my home maintenance so I don't have to worry about it.
And I kind of like it when we can't buy things quickly. In general, we've gotten to where things get replaced very, very fast, and they don't get fixed as much. Some things are just built cheaply, but you look at doing some maintenance can save you a ton. I mean, it's just the little things, cleaning out filters more often. There's a couple videos lately that's coming on my feed that people have an air filter and like, oh, it's working so great, and they never actually took the plastic off the filter. So even if you do take it off, like your shop vac, I love my shop vac. Now I get my kids to vacuum the car. But if that filter's clogged, you're not vacuuming up what you think you're vacuuming up. So just even shaking the filter out, blowing it out, put a new filter in. Same thing with your home furnace, your vacuum. Oh my God, have you ever tipped up your vacuum to look at the actual beater bar?
Yeah, it's wrapped with my wife's hair everywhere.
It's not wrapped with your hair. But I mean, you get a knife out, cut it, pull it out, clean it off. That vacuum is going to work night and day difference. And we've got it to where the dog likes to bring in little wood chips. I don't know why.
Oh, nice.
But that'll get stuck in the vacuum. And then therefore the hole's blocked. So you only got, like this little side on, nothing's going in that vacuum. And so the little stuff, the vacuum sounded funny. And the kids just kept going. I'm like, hey kids, here we go. That does not sound the same as normal. Something's wrong. There we go. Take it apart. If you don't know how to do it, take it in the vacuum shop. There's still a vacuum shop in Windsor Heights.
Speaking of getting stuff fixed that you didn't know needed to be fixed, there you go. Wow.
Yeah. Vacuums are big ones. They're expensive to buy. You can clean them out and actually have an old vacuum run really, really well. It was plugged with hair or pet stuff, whatever it may be. But lots of little things that if you take the time and catch it right away, then it won't break the rest of the way.
And keep in mind, too, that a well-maintained home obviously holds its value better as well. So if you are planning to maybe sell in 3 to 5 years and you just got new carpet like we did when we first moved in, we've been there now almost 7 years or maybe almost 8 years now. Our carpets, we didn't get them cleaned every single year like we should. We didn't vacuum nearly enough. And our carpets probably need to be replaced before we move out or when we move out. And it stinks. It's a giant cost. It's a lot of work. And it was all our fault. We could have easily been vacuuming. We could have easily been washing the carpets every year, and we just didn't do the maintenance. And now we're going to pay the cost, and the maintenance would have been so much cheaper than re-carpeting the entire house.
I love that example. Because, I mean, carpets can last a long time, but if you just continually let it build up, you're not going to get it all out. I mean, it's, washing your clothes with stain preventer. You're going to have your clothes last longer if you actually catch the stain. It's no different on carpet. And it is fun to get new stuff, but like you said, you got to move all the furniture out, and then you got to hire somebody to take it out, and you got to hire somebody to put it in. It's expensive. And if you want to do that, great. If you don't want to do that, clean it. Hire the cleaner once in a while. It's so nice, especially like you said with allergies. The cleaning bill's not that big compared to replacing the carpet, and you get to enjoy your home more. If that's something you want to do, it's a great thing to schedule. I love cleaning the windows. Well, no, I don't love cleaning the windows. I like having my windows cleaned. So we do the inside, but then like you clean the screens and you clean the windows. It's like, holy cow. The sunlight comes in, you enjoy your house more, you see the flowers outside, the trees. It's a dumb little thing, and you can do it yourself, but I got a tall house. I don't like to do the tall ones. We decide what we want to pay for, and we decide what we want to do ourselves. Everybody's different, but it just needs done.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's get through a couple of key takeaways here from today's episode then. Number one, I would recommend creating that seasonal checklist. Charlie already talked about, whether it's spring, it's fall, whatever it is, maybe it's before winter, you're taking down the hoses, you are getting the leaves cleaned up so you don't have leaf built up all over, when the snow comes during the winter. It's just doing all those kinds of things and going through and figuring out what makes sense for you. If you don't have a yard, you don't have to worry about that, right? If you have an exterior shut off for your water, and make sure that gets turned off. My house, the only turn off I have is the main. So mine is my faucet is set up so that the water actually goes back in during when I close the faucet, which is kind of cool. Didn't know that was a thing. So just creating those checklists, understanding your house and understanding what makes sense as far as your checklist. Secondly, again, knowing where your shutoffs are, knowing those water shutoffs, the gas shutoffs, power. Even if it's just in an emergency, you need to know where your electrical box is at so you can go and kill the power if something's caught on fire or whatever.
Yeah. You think you don't need to know, but honestly, it comes in big time. You just never know. When we had a pipe that almost froze, and we've been in our house 18 years. We had done some construction, and we'd forgot something got colder than it should have. And so I was impressed. My wife knew right where that shutoff was. And that's something she goes, I'm not going to even know that. I'm like, you might. And water is just a pain. Like, if you can shut it off, you avoid so much of a problem.
Absolutely. And then finally is just setting those calendar reminders. So Charlie and I already talked about, throw it on your phone, throw it on your Google Calendar, or whatever it is, or even just put it on your handwritten calendar if you'd like those. Just changing your smoke alarms every year. I've got a reminder that goes off on my phone every year for changing those. Changing your furnace filters depending on how often. I buy ones that they're good for 3 months. I spend a little bit more, so I buy nicer ones, but I don't have to replace them as often. I used to buy the monthlies and replace it every single month, but that adds up faster in a cost because they're $7 or $8 a piece, but you got to do 12 of them instead of just 4.
Yep. Well, and if what you want, like with your allergies, that's a different filter than if you don't really have allergies that bother you. So a lot of personal preference.
So remember, maintenance isn't about perfection. It's just about prevention, understanding what your house needs and understanding how to improve the future so you don't have those fixes down the road.
And don't feel bad that you don't know. You don't know until you experience it. So, hey, call us and ask. We're happy to help.
There you go. We've got the contacts. Give us a shout. So there you have it. Home maintenance doesn't have to be scary. With a little planning, you can avoid some costly surprises and keep your home in tip-top shape. Remember, you can always find us on all social medias and stay curious. We'll see you next week on The Lofty Lender.